Well, as hard as this is to believe, the Giants have won 2 games now in a row. They beat Washington here at the Meadowlands on Sunday afternoon, and it doesn't really mean anything except if you pay attention to things like this. They now have clinched third place in the NFC East and guaranteed that Tom Coughlin will not have a last-place team. He's only had one in his career, 1995, the expansion Jacksonville Jaguars, so he's not going to get his second one. Pretty decent performance overall. In general, the offense really didn't get going until the second half. When they did, it was the Odell Beckham show.
Yeah, I mean, 3 touchdowns for him, 12 receptions. I think that's second in Giants history to Tiki Barber. I mean, yeah, he looked great, and he used kind of their whole offense. He was pretty much all the offense scoring-wise on the field for both teams, 3 of the 4 touchdowns.
More than 90 yards receiving for the 7th game in the row, which is a rookie record. He's also approaching 1,000 yards, has the Giants' receiving yards record. I think it's somewhere in the 970s at this point. Obviously, he is sensational. What amazes me is that the Giants just kept throwing to him. I mean, they had to target him more than a dozen times. Obviously, he had 12 catches. They didn't really make an effort to go anywhere else, but they didn't have to. And you would think at some point that defenses would clamp down on him, but he had plenty of room to run in the backfield.
Yeah, Washington didn't seem like they were, and it's crazy because the Giants have nothing else going, couldn't run the ball like you said, and Washington they just kept kind of leaving him out there, leaving Bashad Breeland out there, and kind of leaving those two on an island, and that was not working. And then there's another touchdown, I think, a 30 or 40 yarder that he could have had where he's wide open. That's called back from a penalty. They just didn't react to him.
It wasn't a great performance by the Giants. At one point when they took the lead, they had given up 360-something yards, and they only had 140 or 150 for themselves. They didn't play great defense, especially when Robert Griffin III came into the game, taking over for the injured Colt McCoy. But, it was good enough. And again, they win 2 out of 3. It makes them feel a little bit better about themselves. Granted, it was against 3 of the worst teams in football. But other than them avoiding last place, do you think it means anything for this season? I know that, there's speculation about Tom Coughlin's job, obviously, but also, they're going to lose their draft pick status. It's going to be a little farther down. I mean, is this at all good for their future that they're beating up on these bad teams?
I mean, I think a win's always good for any team, and especially for a team with so many young guys on it. I mean, these are guys who are learning to win, and not so much last week where, they blew by the Titans, but at least this week they're learning to execute in the fourth quarter. I mean, we saw them kind of be able to defend down the stretch, and then we saw them somehow be able to essentially run out the clock and not leave Washington with enough time to make a run, which is something they'd had trouble with earlier this year. So that's
sorry. So the Giants win. Now look, they go out to St. Louis, a tough team, plays very good defense next week. After that, home to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a very good possibility this is their last win of the year. But regardless, make sure you keep reading about the Giants and all their games that are remaining and what their future holds on nydailynews.com.